In my time studying and working in fashion, I have heard the most wacky, untrue things about fabric and fabric properties from uninformed people. And it's okay to be uninformed, but if you like sewing or you just like fashion and buying clothes, you probably should know a little something something about fabric properties. So in this video, I'm going to be talking specifically about the properties of the raw materials that make the fabric, so that's like cotton, wool, polyester, etc. There is a lot more that goes into making a fabric what it is than just the raw fibers, and if you want to know more about that, watch my Fabrics 101 and Fabrics 102 videos. I've linked them below. But the raw material itself is still important, so that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm also going to splice in some myths and rumors that I hear about fabric. The first rumor is that a lot of people are allergic to synthetic fibers. I hear this every once in a while. People will be like, I can only wear natural fibers because I'm allergic to synthetics. And the reality is a lot more complex than that actually, but we're going to get to that in a second. So first of all, what are synthetic fibers? Synthetic fibers are made in a lab through chemical synthesis. They do not come from a living creature like a plant or an animal. Four common ones that you see a lot in clothing are polyester, nylon, acrylic, and spandex. Polyester is one of the most commonly used fibers for clothing. In fact, I think it may be the most common, and it is usually derived from petroleum. And yes, petroleum is a fossil fuel, and extracting it to make polyester contributes to climate change. Anyway, why is polyester so common in clothing? Two words. Price and performance. It is cheap to manufacture, and while some polyester is very flimsy and will fall apart on you quickly, a lot of it is actually very durable. Compared to a lot of natural fibers, it is a lot more sun resistant, stain resistant, wrinkle resistant, and it dries fairly quickly. This is why it's so common to see it in outdoor attire and gear, such as tents, winter coats, etc. So if polyester has so many amazing properties, why do people hate it so much? Well, it's a piece of absolute poop for the environment and human health, first of all. Have you seen those reports about microplastics in the ocean, the air, food, and even the human body? Yeah, polyester in clothing contributes to that problem. Polyester also gets a bad rap from bottom-of-the-barrel fast fashion brands who use the absolute cheapest fabric they can, which is obviously usually not very good quality and can fall apart very quickly. It is also known to pill. And now pilling is something that can happen to a lot of different fibers, and it's also influenced by quite a lot of different processes within the manufacturing process of the fabric and the clothing. However, polyester, because it's a strong synthetic fabric, instead of having weaker fibers that fall out, those strong fibers hang on in the form of a little ball in the fabric known as pilling. Now let's go back to the rumor that a lot of people are allergic to polyester and other synthetics and can only wear natural fibers, because unpacking that rumor can help understand some of the disadvantages of polyester. So polyester itself is seemingly pretty rare as an allergen, according to some of the articles I've linked below, which I hope are credible. That said, many of the chemicals that polyester-based garments are treated with, such as dyes and finishes, are known allergens. So if you think you have a polyester allergy, theoretically it might be one of these other allergy-causing chemicals, and natural fibers could also be treated with some of these chemicals, so merely avoiding polyester might not be 100% safe. That said, it seems like from a few sources I've consulted online that natural fabrics like cotton and linen are less likely to be treated with these allergy-causing chemicals, so there's that. But again, take all this with a grain of salt because I'm not an expert on this particular topic. Furthermore, what people think might be a polyester allergy may actually be a non-allergic, skin irritation. I believe this is called irritant contact dermatitis. Skin irritations are known to more likely occur in women who are more likely to wear tight-fitting clothing and also colorful clothing. Again, going back to dyes, that can be irritants or allergens, as well as people who sweat a lot and people who work in humid environments. So this again could explain why people think they're allergic to polyester or just find polyester less comfortable, because synthetics like polyester do not let moisture pass through as easily as natural fabrics unless they've been engineered to be able to do so. So if sweat is just trapped in your clothes, that's gross, right? Finally, some textiles are just itchy, so you might think it's an allergy when in fact it's just a physical irritation against your skin that's like giving you a rash. This can certainly happen with synthetics, but it can also happen with natural fibers like wool. If I wear a wool sweater, I'm most likely going to be itching a lot throughout the day. So it's not limited to synthetics. There is a lot more that I could say about synthetic fibers, and polyester is certainly not the only one out there. However, I'm going to move on to talking about natural fibers because I know that y'all love them. First up is cotton. In terms of desirable properties, cotton has a lot going for it. It is generally quite soft, which is not at all surprising if you've ever seen a cotton boll. They look so fluffy. However, it is very versatile. You can have cotton canvas for bags or cargo pants that is very robust, to very soft knits for t-shirts and pajamas, to luxurious Egyptian cotton sheets, and more. It is very breathable and has moisture-wicking properties, making it generally very comfortable to wear. As for downsides, it can be prone to pilling, it gets wrinkly quite easily, and while it can be very durable, it isn't always, and it's generally not the go-to fiber for very technical applications. Next up is wool. Wool comes from sheep, generally speaking, but it can come from other animals as well, including goats. It is known for being very insulating, so it can keep you warm, which is not a surprise to anyone probably, given that it literally comes from a sheep. However, not all wools fit into the stereotype of super warm, super itchy Christmas sweater. You can also have super fine wools, merino wool being one example, that can be made into garments that are lightweight and don't cause you to overheat. Wool is also one of the more wrinkle-resistant natural fibers, and I believe that that's because of its natural coil in the structure that bounces back when you crease it. Like, it will still wrinkle, but less so than cotton and linen, for instance. It is very moldable with heat, water, and moisture, making it a popular choice for tailored garments like bespoke suiting, for instance. It can absorb a lot of water, making it somewhat moisture wicking, and it's UV resistant. Also, a big advantage of wool is that it has natural anti-odor properties, so it will get a lot less smelly than synthetics or even other natural fibers, making it a great choice for a base layer for outdoor activities. Disadvantages of wool include that it can be a little bit harder to clean because it can be sensitive to moisture and friction and heat. It is liable to pill as well. And as discussed, depending on the kind of wool, it can be itchy and unpleasant to wear. There are also animal welfare considerations, which I'm not going to dive into that into this video. I may save that for a video on sustainability. Next up is linen. I feel like linen has really been having a moment recently. A lot of people and brands seem to be making, buying, talking about linen clothing. Linen is from the stalk of the flax plant. Its major advantage is that it's great for hot climates because it absorbs moisture very readily and dries very quickly. Even cotton, which is known to be great for hot weather as well, doesn't quite do it like linen. The main disadvantage of linen is that it wrinkles like crazy. Although not everybody thinks that's a bad thing, some people view that as it, adds charm to the fabric. So that's just kind of a personal preference thing. It is also fairly rare, from my own experience anyway, to find linen as a knit fabric, although it does exist. Knit fabrics are naturally stretchy, whereas woven fabrics are not, and because linen has pretty much no elasticity to it, and because it's rare for it to be a knit fabric, linen garments oftentimes don't have a lot of stretch to them, or sometimes any stretch to them, unless they're blended with another fiber, or there are features like an elastic waist or whatever. So just keep that in mind when you're shopping for linen clothing. Last natural fiber I'm going to talk about is silk. Silk comes from the cocoons made by silkworms, and most of it comes from a type of silkworm called Bombyx mori, which I believe feeds solely on mulberry leaves, which is why it's sometimes called mulberry silk. Silk has a lot of amazing properties. It is the only natural fiber that is a filament, which means a fiber of unlimited length. It also has incredible tensile strength, the strongest tensile strength of all natural fibers, I believe. However, that doesn't mean that all silk fabrics are super durable. In fact, many silk-based fabrics are not because of how they're woven. I touch on that in Fabrics 101. Silk is most well known for its aesthetic qualities. When it's woven into a satin, it has an absolutely beautiful iridescence and luster. And even other silk-based fabrics like organza or silk velvet have this incredible luster and expensive look and feel to them that synthetics just can't imitate. Silk is also breathable like its other natural counterparts, and it is much less likely to pill than most other fibers. The main disadvantage of silk, aside from the price, is that it is a bit more finicky to take care of because it can be sensitive to heat, among other factors, so definitely read the care label before attempting to wash your silk garments. Also, silkworms generally have to be killed by being boiled or cooked to death in order to make silk, so that's something that some people find upsetting. Last thing I'm going to talk about are what are called semi-synthetic fibers. These are made from naturally occurring substances from a living thing, generally a plant, but they undergo a chemical transformation in a lab which alters the chemical structure of the plant-originated fibers before they get turned into a textile. When the natural fibers that form the basis of these textiles come from cellulose, which is generally the case, and cellulose refers to things such as trees, cotton, or woody plants, then the resulting semi-synthetic fiber is called rayon. Bamboo is a common plant that gets turned into rayon. I bet you thought bamboo was a natural fiber, right? Well, unfortunately, the vast majority of the time, it is not. There is a thing called bamboo linen, which is a natural fiber, but it's unfortunately not very common. The most common bamboo fabrics are rayon. Viscose is a common subtype of rayon. I believe it was created to be an alternative to silk, so when you hear artificial silk, most likely people are talking about viscose. It has a softness and drape that is similar to silk, although to be honest, I don't actually really find that they're that similar, but anyway. It is very breathable and moisture wicking, very soft and comfortable to wear, and pretty inexpensive. I would say the main disadvantage of viscose is that it can be kind of finicky to care for, it can be a little bit sensitive to heat, and it's weaker when wet, so you sometimes have to be careful with it. I don't personally find it particularly difficult to care for because I wash all my clothing on cold anyway, but all that to say, read the care label on your garments. I'm not going to go into the environmental / sustainability aspects of viscose or rayon. That's just too much to talk about for one video. I will be saving that for a sustainability focused video. So if you're watching this in the future, head to my fabrics playlist. Maybe it's there. Anyway, I think I've been yapping enough for one day, so thanks so much for watching and see you in the next video.